Hey, it's Amber. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome. I make videos about kind of crunchy motherhood, lifestyle, and more recently about trying to get pregnant with baby number 2. So if you like that sort of content, I'd love to see you around here more often. Just hit that little subscribe button down below. Today I'm sitting down with you and I'm sharing the things I wish I would have known before trying to get pregnant. And to give you a little backstory, it took my husband and I 8 tries to get pregnant with our first, who is now 2.5. And we are currently 18 months into trying for baby number 2 and unfortunately dealing with unexplained secondary infertility. So some of the things I'm going to share I learned the first time around trying because of course it's always difficult when pregnancy isn't happening in the time frame that you thought it would, and some I learned this second time around because it's just been a lot longer and a lot more challenging of a journey. Whether you're just starting to think about having kids or have already been trying for a while, my hope with this video is not to scare you about what could or couldn't happen, but to help you apply these things that I wish I would have known beforehand so that you can go into trying feeling more grounded, or to help you protect your peace and settle your mind if you've already been trying for a bit. The first thing is to lower your expectations. It seems like unless you have a pre-existing condition that you know will make it more difficult for you to conceive, a lot of women, myself included, seem to feel like they are going to get pregnant within those first few months, if not on the first try. And for some people, that absolutely does happen, but for a lot of people, it doesn't. Sometimes there's a reason it's not happening, like timing. In those first 3 to 4 months that my husband and I were trying for our first, I had no idea what a fertile window was. Other times, the right circumstances just haven't lined up yet. Of course, other times there actually could be something wrong, but for the purposes of this video, we are not going to go into that. A lot of us don't share this sentiment out loud. I have heard a couple of women talk about how fertile they are, but I think the majority of women are not walking around talking about how quickly they're going to get pregnant. But I absolutely had it in my head that first time that within 3 months max, I was going to be pregnant. And so if you are feeling that way, just lower your expectations a little bit. And that way, if it does happen really fast, you will be just as excited, if not more excited. And if it doesn't happen in that time frame, the letdown will still sting, but it won't sting quite as badly. The second thing I wish I would have known is to be careful about who you tell that you're trying. I'm not saying don't tell anybody. I am just saying before you go and tell everybody you know that you're trying out of excitement, pause. I did exactly that right after Alex and I got married. I just could not wait to tell people that we were going to start trying for a baby. But what I found out very quickly was that some of the people that I felt fine sharing exciting, happy news with were not necessarily the same people I felt comfortable knowing that it wasn't happening month after month after month. It was something that I just genuinely didn't even think to be cautious about, because going back to my first point, I really didn't think it was gonna take us longer than 3 months to get pregnant. I would really encourage you to just take a few minutes, think about all the people you're wanting to tell, and think about how those people have reacted to fun and exciting announcements in your life, but also think about how those people have handled tough, difficult seasons of your life. That first time around trying, there were certain interactions I had with other people that just made a tough moment even tougher. And I know that those people didn't mean anything malicious. They weren't trying to be hurtful, but a comment that's made without the intention of being hurtful can still hurt deeply nonetheless. This second time around, I was much more careful with who I told. I think I only told 3 people that I know until I decided to share it with you, with everyone, because I felt called to talk about what I was going through with other people. But aside from that, I didn't tell anyone other than those 3 people. Make sure that you are taking care of your mental and emotional health, even if you are just beginning the process of trying. It's easy to think if you're just starting to try that you don't need to think about this, but I promise you, it's so much better to be proactive about taking care of your mental and emotional state instead of slowly, month after month, digging yourself into a pit of despair, which of course is what I did both times around. I can attest to the fact that even if you get pregnant in less than a year, several months of seeing negative tests or getting your period can really take its toll on you, which is why by 6 months of trying for our first, I was a complete wreck, and it's the main reason that I decided to start going to acupuncture regularly, not just because I was hoping that it would help my fertility, but because I felt like I needed to do something that felt good and calming and grounding for my mental health. And of course, you don't need to go to acupuncture, but you just need to make sure that you're doing things that make you feel good and that bring you joy on a regular basis, regardless of the outcome at the end of your cycle. I also personally feel like it's a good idea to take a few minutes to think about 1 or 2 routines or practices that you might want to do at the end of your cycle if things don't go the way that you're hoping, just to help you process your feelings and emotions. And that's not to say if you do all of this that you're going to completely avoid having hard moments if things don't happen right away or as quickly as you'd hope, but I've found that it can absolutely help you process and move on and get back to enjoying life a lot quicker as opposed to just staying stuck in a rut. The 4th thing is to do away with any timelines and fantasies that you have in your head, and instead to tell yourself that it will happen when it's supposed to happen in the way that it's supposed to happen. This is a lesson that I've learned this second time around because it's just taking so much longer. Basically, at the beginning of certain cycles, I would fantasize about getting pregnant, but I would also fantasize, for example, about getting pregnant in October because I would think about how cute it would be to tell my family that we were expecting for Christmas, and I would come up with a whole plan for how I wanted to tell them, or how cute it would be to get pregnant at the beginning of February because then on Valentine's Day I could tell Alex that I was pregnant, and I would think about what it would be like to have a baby around that due date and like what the seasons were going to be like and what kind of clothes I would buy. And then when I would start my period, it was just so much more devastating because I wasn't just losing the hope of being pregnant that month. I was losing all those plans that I had envisioned and fantasized about. So I had to stop doing that, and I still catch myself doing it and have to put a stop to it. I don't think it's wrong or bad to dream about being pregnant. I think it's just healthy to keep yourself in check and to not let yourself get too ahead for the reasons I just explained. It's just extra devastating, and I found that those months that I did that usually were the months that even when it was clear that I wasn't pregnant, I was just trying to hang on to any thread of hope that I could find that I was. Like I would be full-blown bleeding and still hoping that I might be pregnant. Number 5 is don't fall into the "this is how I got pregnant" trap. There are so many Instagram posts, blog posts, and YouTube videos where a company or a person is telling you that this supplement, this medication, or this lifestyle change is the thing that made them get pregnant. And look, I myself have a video about the things that I did before I got pregnant with my son, but I went back and watched that video because I wanted to make sure that I'm not contradicting anything that I'm saying here. And I still stand by that video because I think there's a difference between someone saying, and I'm not just talking about myself, that this is what they did to prepare their body for pregnancy. This is what they did to boost their fertility, or these are the lifestyle changes that they made and then they got pregnant. And someone saying, I took Mucinex and that made me get pregnant. Because if you ask me, that kind of claim is dangerous. There's no way to know that just because someone started taking a random supplement or ate a few Brazil nuts, that's the reason they got pregnant the following cycle. Of course, taking a supplement or changing your diet, like adding some Brazil nuts, could potentially increase your chances of getting pregnant, but it also could be that that was just that person's month and that they were gonna get pregnant regardless of if they ate 3 Brazil nuts or not. I'm also not saying don't ever add any new supplements or make any lifestyle changes. I'm just saying to be wary of companies or people telling you that this is the thing that got them pregnant, because I personally have fallen prey to this many times, especially the second time around. I have tried a lot of different supplements. I have made lifestyle changes, diet changes that other people have said got them pregnant, and I am still not pregnant. When you're trying to get pregnant, even if you are far from the year mark, it still can be a very vulnerable place to be. And unfortunately, there are companies and people who are going to try to take advantage of that vulnerability to try to sell you something. And I also think that there are a lot of people sharing what they think did it for them that are not trying to take advantage. They're just speaking what they believe is the truth, and maybe it is, I don't know. So just be careful. Do your own research or talk to your doctor, but don't just buy some supplement or change something in your life just because someone else claimed that that's what did it for them. The last thing kind of piggybacks off of not always listening to every other person saying that this is what they did to get pregnant, and that is to make the lifestyle change, make the diet change, add the supplement, but do it to increase your overall health and well-being, which will therefore increase your fertility, and not just because you think that that's going to be the thing that's going to get you pregnant on the next try. If you're going to some kind of a fertility specialist and they're telling you take this, this, and this, great. But otherwise, it's so easy to self-prescribe everything, every supplement, diet change, you name it, under the sun, and a lot of it might be totally unnecessary for you. I really wish that somebody would have held my hand and told me this sooner, because I just feel like I have, especially in the last year and a half, wasted so much money and time. I only recently started getting lab work done to see health-wise, where am I good? Where might I be lacking, so that I know which kinds of supplements would benefit me, or if I'm taking any supplements right now that I really don't need to. I started taking myo-inositol a few months back because it seemed like a low-risk supplement that could maybe help my chances, but I'm reading a book right now called It Starts with the Egg. The author talks about that supplement, and from that book, I've learned that myo-inositol is mostly beneficial for people who have PCOS, high testosterone, or insulin resistance. So I'm actually waiting for results back right now to see if I fall into any of those categories and if I need to continue purchasing it and taking it. If you make a lifestyle change or add a supplement to improve your overall health, it can't let you down if that's what it accomplishes. But if you're only doing it to get pregnant, it very well could let you down. And that is how people like myself have fallen into the very unhealthy lifestyle routine of adding something new or changing something every month or every few months, and it ends up feeling like you're just on a hamster wheel all the time, which ultimately is not good for your health and well-being. That's all I have for you. I really hope you found this helpful, and I hope that if you are trying, that this helps you protect your peace and take care of yourself. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really helps out my channel. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.